Collisions are bad no matter who or what is involved. But when a collision involves a school bus, it could mean the life of a child. We are professional school bus drivers, and one of our main responsibilities is safety. Of course, we're responsible for getting children to school on time and then bringing them back home again, but we want always to do it safely without injury to either the students or the bus. Accidents don't have to happen, especially if we work at doing all the things that can help prevent them. Our passengers are young people, and they're precious cargo.
Sweetie, don't you ever do that again. All this traffic here could have ran up and ran over you. You watch for my hand signals from now on. It would be like this.
It's up to us as professionals to stay aware of the safety methods we were taught in driver training school and use them to the best of our advantage. It's a big responsibility, and we know it. The buses themselves are built to prevent collision and injuries. All the devices such as warning lights, stop arm, crossing gates, and mirrors give us the ability to protect our students, if we remember to use them. Part of being a professional school bus driver is to be sure your equipment is working properly. If you have a problem, call the maintenance shop for repairs. We don't take chances, because chances can take a life. True, we are adult school bus drivers here in South Carolina, and many of us have years and years of experience operating a motor vehicle. But that's not enough when it comes to a school bus. They're different. There are procedures that are special for a school bus, and these procedures must be followed to the letter. The buses are properly maintained for safety, too. There's a comprehensive preventative maintenance program across the state with mechanics whose jobs are to check and recheck our buses for any possible problem that might lead to a collision. But when you come right down to it, none of these safety features are worth a nickel unless we, the drivers, do our part as safe professional drivers. Just how do we do this? Let me take a minute or two to show you. We'll go over the most frequent causes of collisions and how they happen. We know this though, too many collisions are caused by the bus driver and not the result of some malfunction of the bus. So let's start with the driver. As a school bus driver, it's important to maintain a positive attitude. Family problems and concerns have no place on the school bus. This excess baggage must not come on board. If the driver is angry or has a bad attitude, well, your chances of having a collision are greatly increased. And this wouldn't be the result of chance, would it? Sometimes we're all pressed for time. We try to cut corners, drive too fast through congested areas, or fail to come to a complete stop at a railroad crossing. Might seem like a good way to make up lost time, but I would rather be late than not arrive at all. Wouldn't you? And then there's the driver who lets her mind wander. What will she cook for dinner? Or what will the children wear to school tomorrow? A professional school bus driver's attention and thoughts should always be on driving tasks. Something as simple as the driver paying attention to the wrong thing at the wrong time, failing to keep her eyes on the students, checking the mirrors, well, it could be fatal. As a concerned driver, it's obvious to me why we need to keep a good attitude. There's just too much at stake. Despite our efforts to prevent driver mistakes, there seem to be some that happen more frequently than others. Let's take a look at some, and maybe by seeing some examples, we can avoid making those same mistakes ourselves. High on the list is improper backing. First, never back unless you absolutely have to.
Brooks, can you go in the back and be our bus patrol?
Yes, sir.
If this driver follows the procedures for a proper turnabout or backing to the letter, his chances of running into or over something would be pretty slim.
Are we clear?
Yes, sir.
He's using the inside
clear?
patrol to make sure the area is
No,
clear.
sir.
Are we clear?
His hazard lights are on, so the drivers of other vehicles will know that he's getting ready to do something. He's in his lane, not in the ditch, coming to a smooth, gradual stop. No jerking, no sudden abrupt stop like into a tree or into a ditch. He is following the rules and doing a good job of it. Another collision that is fairly common and very dangerous is improper turning, especially on left turns. Watch this driver. She is checking the mirrors and blind spots. Notice her turn signal is on at least 300 feet before the turn, about 12 bus lengths, and she has checked the traffic in both directions. Notice how she has slowed to a safe speed and the transmission is automatically shifted to low gear. This allows her to accelerate slightly, which will increase the bus traction to avoid a skid. Now for that square turn. It's going to keep the left back of the bus from scraping a car's fender. See? She's made this left turn successfully. Just because we've mastered those left turns doesn't mean that we can forget the right-hand turn. They can be tricky too. Remember, it takes a wide turn so the right side of the bus won't scrape a telephone pole or slide into a ditch. Following too closely is another frequent cause of collision. Here's a question for you. Why is it so important that we keep a distance of 300 feet when following another school bus? Here's why. Of course, it's always dangerous to come to a sudden stop, but why is it so important to have clear visibility of at least 600 feet in front and to the rear of the bus, even when you've made a smooth stop? Pretty obvious, isn't it? Even when we have the right-of-way at an intersection, why should we take the initiative? Remember our defensive driving and yield anyway. Defensive driving, it's for me. And we don't have to stress the importance of being especially cautious at railroad crossings. Why do some people not come to a complete stop before crossing the tracks? I wish I knew.
You folks have a tremendous responsibility operating your school bus on a daily basis, transporting our students to and from school safely, and you will operate your buses in a time when traffic is at its peak.
Driving a school bus takes a lot more than being able to turn the key and put the bus in gear. It takes a special kind of person with a special kind of talent to be a member of the elite group of professional school bus drivers in South Carolina.
Make sure on a daily basis, on your morning route as well as your afternoon route, you obey all rules, regulations, policies, and procedures that you were taught in the school bus driving training class. Make sure you exercise these things each and every time you operate your school bus.
True, it takes some skill to be a good school bus driver and handle a vehicle of its size and length, but it also takes an individual who cares about kids. It takes a person who is never satisfied with the job half done. This person wants to be the best of the best. It takes patience.
Okay, Anthony and Sam, you're not giving me any choices here.
We can't afford to lose our cool when things get out of hand on the bus. If this happens, remember, safely stop the bus and do your best to smooth out the problem before you continue your route.
Your seat. I tell you what, I'm moving you to the front.
Once you reach the school, report the problem to your bus supervisor or school administrator. He or she is there to help you. And once you've arrived safely at the school, do a quick check of the bus to be sure that nothing is on the bus that shouldn't be there. You might be surprised at some of the things that get left behind. Intelligence and common sense are important qualities necessary for a school bus driver. And there's always the chance of some unforeseen matter that might be left for us as school bus drivers to handle. Never let anyone on your bus who is not authorized to be there. The safety of you and the students in your care should never be compromised. We must be prepared to assume our position of leadership and authority should the occasion arrive. If, unfortunately, we're involved in a collision, then it's up to us to report it coolly and calmly to the proper authorities. And until help arrives, it's our job to instill calm and confidence in the children. We've got a big job, that's for sure.
Okay, good job. Everybody okay? Little T, Jacob, y'all okay? Girls, y'all look okay? All right, good job. Thank you.
It takes a lot to be a good, safe, and responsible school bus driver. There's a lot to remember as we try to keep our time schedules. And sometimes things happen that try our patience. Not everybody makes it on time to the bus every morning. It doesn't help, however, to get mad when you have to wait or when things don't go exactly as we would want. This is when it's important that we put things in their proper perspective. Be patient, alert, and above all, keep our sense of humor. collisions still don't just happen, they're caused. It's our job as safe, responsible, and professional school bus drivers to do our best to keep collisions at a minimum. You know, we are kind of a special breed, carrying a very special kind of cargo. School kids. When we're behind the wheel of a bus, their safety is totally in our hands. Yes, sirree, it's for me, driving like a pro.